With contract status updates and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Sharing details behind his involvement at WrestleMania 40, where he refereed the Philadelphia street fight, Bully Ray told Eric Bischoff on Wise Choices it basically was as last minute as just about The Undertaker was. It wasn't like the last minute day of the show, it was just a couple of days beforehand where I got a call and they said, hey, we have an idea, what do you think? I mean, special guest referee, a surprise at WrestleMania 40. This was the most fun I've ever had at WrestleMania. Every single WrestleMania I had performed in beforehand was extremely stressful with the TLC matches, the follow-up matches, even some of the lesser to an extent matches, the Four Corners matches. Me and Devon always put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We expected a certain level of performance from ourselves plus our opponents, but this time this was so last minute and so carefree to just go out there as a referee, and you're a referee in a hardcore match. There's no rules, so all I have to do is basically sit back, enjoy the chaos, and every once in a while drop down to my knees for the 2 count and then the 3 count. One of the things I had the most fun with was interacting with the 6 gentlemen and the 2 ladies involved in the match and taking the stuff that has worked for me throughout my entire career, my hits, like the what's up headbutt and get the tables. I was able to lend my hits to them and they were able to use them and pull them off. I thought it made the match that much more fun. Mentioning how his acting experience has helped his return to pro wrestling in 2020, Adam Copeland noted on the AEW Unrestricted podcast, I didn't fully realize what it brought to me until I came back. Acting was a happy accident. I never had aspirations. I never wanted that to be my career. I was a pro wrestler. That was it. That's all I ever wanted to do. But when you're told you can't do it, you gotta wrap your mind around stuff. Luckily, executive producer for a show called Haven, they saw my retirement speech and said, can we get that guy? I went out there and 1 episode turned into 41 episodes. In the process, I learned, wow, this is really awesome. This is a cool gig. It's not wrestling. You don't have that instant gratification to know if what you're doing is working, but it's still very creative and it's tapping into that creative vein, and I need that. I think anybody that is involved in wrestling is a creative person. It became kind of my place to still get that out. I fell in love with it, started putting work towards it. I talked to the directors, talked to the DP, okay, why are we lighting this way? Why are we doing this? Talking to other actors and saying, why do you make that choice? Not questioning it, but wondering and learning to the point where it's probably annoying people, but that's what I did in wrestling. I just asked questions. If I was on an indie show and Bad News Brown was on it, I was going straight to him and going, what do you got for me? My ears are wide open. I wanted to be the same way on the set. Coming back to wrestling, I realized how many different things that I can use. As much as they're different, they're still the same tree, they're just kind of different branches. It was fascinating to come back with a promo and realize how to use movement, how to use stillness to make it mean more, how to use your eyes. So often in wrestling, we get caught up in moves or spots or sequences or whatever the term is these days. Give me those all day and I'm going to get more across with those than I will by doing a shooting star. Plus, I can't do one, so there's that. Advertising a ticket giveaway, Liv Morgan posted this video to X.
WWE superstar Liv Morgan here. Now, I may not work as a lawyer at Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, but I'm a fighter just like them. When fighting for you, they never back down. They never settle. Morgan & Morgan are ready to step into the ring for you, and they fight to win a lot. Call Morgan & Morgan and Liv Morgan the undisputed injury champions. Now watch me. Morgan & Morgan is also hooking you all up with an epic opportunity. Enter to win SummerSlam tickets and a $2,000 check to cover travel and expenses. Go to morganwwe.com to enter, and if you don't win, cry about it.
Despite Swerve Strickland coming off the biggest win of his career and winning the AEW World title, he did not have a promo segment or a celebration of any kind on Dynamite last night, as a reason was provided. Swerve Strickland's title reign started off with a match this week, leading many to wonder why he didn't get a promo or a celebration. Fightful inquired after readers had asked, and we were told that the plan was to give Swerve Strickland a big lead-in from the NBA on Collision for his first promo as champion. That segment has since been announced. The idea that was relayed to us was that hopefully Swerve would benefit from the best lead-in of AEW's 2024 year, as Celtics vs. Heat in the NBA playoffs heads right into the show. Revealing that he has had new discussions with WWE, Jesse Ventura said this to the Vanguard. "I will tell you this, now the wrestling has chosen this new direction, shall we call it? Jesse Ventura is in talks with them, but again, it required them going in this new direction. And I hope you get what I'm saying about the new direction. The direction the company is now going was good enough for Jesse Ventura and the WWE to begin talking again." As AEW President Tony Khan was on the receiving end of an attack by Jack Perry and the Elite, he would be assisted out of the ring after Dynamite.
Sorry, Tony. Tony, can you at least look at me for the selfie, bro? Tony, come on, man! Oh, shit.
Going over the contractual status in TNA of an independent wrestler, Ringside News wrote that according to Fightful Select, Steph DeLander, who has recently been making waves on TNA Wrestling, remains a free agent despite her increasing appearances on TNA TV. Having competed in high-profile matches, such as the Knockouts Championship match at TNA Rebellion against Jordan Grace, DeLander has impressed audiences with her performances. Despite her consistent involvement with TNA, DeLander recently informed Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp that she is still a free agent and open to exploring various opportunities. She's expected to participate in TNA's upcoming Under Siege show and Albany tapings, with the potential to solidify her position within the company depending on the outcomes. DeLander's versatility has been evident through her work across various wrestling promotions, including TNA/Impact, MLW, ROH, and AEW, following a release from WWE in 2022. Although Matt Cardona, her tag team partner and manager, recently sustained a torn pec injury that will keep him sidelined for several months, DeLander continues to pursue her career. Her openness to signing with a company under the right circumstances indicates that she is carefully considering her future in professional wrestling, making her a sought-after talent on the independent circuit. A top independent wrestler remains a free agent after the recent appearances on TNA Wrestling. Steph DeLander has been a regular on TNA TV of late, competing against Jordan Grace in a Knockouts Championship match on TNA Rebellion. However, DeLander tells Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp that she remains a free agent. As of now, she's also expected to work the TNA Under Siege show as well as the Albany tapings, and they'll see where things go from there. DeLander has worked TNA Impact, MLW, ROH, and AEW matches since becoming a free agent following her 2022 WWE release. Matt Cardona, DeLander's tag team partner/manager, sustained a torn pec recently that will have him out for several months. DeLander has indicated that she's not opposed to signing with a company under the right circumstances. When it comes to A-Star re-signing with TNA, Steve Macklin said this on Fightful's podcast. I have, as of now, I am currently re-signed with TNA. We've been going back for months for a list of demands. With the rebrand and everything, I felt that signing back with TNA and the creative freedom I have and lots of unfinished business I have in TNA, I'm looking forward to the future in TNA. Recalling her experience in WWE, Ash by Elegance, who is now with TNA, said this to WrestleSphere. I felt as though I had a lot of creative ideas that I was eager to share, but often these ideas weren't implemented, or worse, they were given to someone else. It wasn't about money, it was about feeling like a toy on a shelf for too long. I wanted to come out and give my all, with great creative freedom, and explore new opportunities. On Instagram, an artist formerly working with WWE is now helping out AEW, as Rob Schamberger wrote. After over a decade, my time with WWE has come to a close. I'm grateful that I had the opportunity over this period of time to focus on making art, and I'm so lucky that doing so has brought so many wonderful people into my life. I've had the opportunity to learn from some of the smartest and most capable people in their fields that I've ever met. Real friendships, people that I truly love, have been the result of this experience. And it brought you, the person reading this, into my life. How amazing is that? Taking to X, Grayson Waller posted a clip promoting the first night of the WWE Draft on SmackDown.
Tomorrow night, night one of the WWE Draft, one of the biggest shows of the year, and I thought it'd be the perfect time to take you back 12 months to last year's draft. Because for most people, getting called up from NXT in the WWE Draft is the best night of their lives. But for Grayson Waller, it was one of the worst. So he had to sit for 2 nights, all of SmackDown, all of Raw, with a broken leg, on crutches, hearing name after name getting called, watching all these people who weren't on my level, standing up around me, getting to live their dream, until my name finally got called with the last pick, making me Mr. Irrelevant in WWE. And I gotta be honest, it was embarrassing. The ego took a pretty big hit, but instead of letting it upset me, it put a chip on my shoulder. And what it did is it led to me becoming the Brock Purdy of the WWE. Actually better. It led to me becoming the Tom Brady of the WWE. Let's talk about my last 12 months since I got drafted with the last pick, yeah? Hosted the #1 talk show in the WWE, debuted in the main event at Madison Square Garden, which means not only did I main event on SmackDown, but I also main evented on Raw, lad. That's not even my show. Week after week, stood across from legend after legend, Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, all begging for the Grayson Waller rub. And it all culminated at WrestleMania 40, when I became the undefeated WWE Tag Team Champion with my boy Austin Theory, and started the streak 2.0. That's right, Grayson Waller, undefeated at WrestleMania. And now this year, I'm not even eligible to be drafted. That's how talented I am, because the champ means a lot to SmackDown, and SmackDown doesn't want to lose a talent like Grayson Waller. So good luck to all the flops trying to get drafted to Raw and SmackDown. But just know, if you get drafted to Friday nights, it's going to be A-Town, down, under, for you.
Mentioning the ratings for AEW Dynamite this week, Ringside News wrote that the viewership numbers for the April 24th episode of AEW Dynamite on TBS have been released, and this will certainly lead to a lot of discussions among fans once again. According to Dave Meltzer, the April 24th edition of AEW Dynamite drew 683,000 viewers and achieved a rating of 0.23 in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. This is a decrease from last week's show, which got 762,000 viewers and a demo rating of 0.26 as well. This week's episode of AEW Dynamite featured Swerve Strickland's first match after becoming the AEW World Champion at Dynasty, and also ended with Tony Khan getting brutalized by the Elite to close the show. In a clip, Roman Reigns can be seen previously meeting a Make-A-Wish kid.
What's going on, everybody?
Hi.
Oh, Jordan, how you doing, man?
Good.
What's up? How you doing?
None of that, Michael. How you doing, man? Nice to meet you, man.
How are you?
That's my wife.
Good.
I like the shoes.
Oh, thank you. Oh, no. Oh, no. We got to talk about this, bud. What's this all about, huh? You know who my favorite team is, don't you?
When it comes to former WWE stars making the move to AEW, the grizzled young vet said this in an interview. "I am Liverpool's #1 Zach Gibson. This man is James Drake. Together we are grizzled young veterans. For the past 18 years, we have traveled the world, living the pirate life, honing our craft, and established ourselves as the premier team anywhere in this industry. Drake, AEW is where the best wrestle, and to be the best, you know, to fight the best. So this Saturday live on Collision, the GYV make their AEW debut, and we are coming to make a statement." Gibson acclaimed, "You two have been on our radars for a few years now. Two lads with unraveled potential, but you chose to use that potential that doesn't sit right with us. Two cartoons making fun little jokes, busy scissoring each other. You two are an embarrassment to this job we love, Drake. So this Saturday on Collision, you two lads are going to learn a very, very important lesson from the veterans. So remember this when you see the GYV coming. Grit your teeth." On his Grilling JR podcast, Jim Ross talked about his commentating schedule in AEW, as he will be with the promotion till March. "Tony Khan hired me back to do pay-per-views, and I'm tickled to death to be there on them. So having pay-per-views once a month is great for me personally. And I hope that somewhere along the way there's another assignment or two thrown in there at times, either on Dynamite or Collision. I think pay-per-views is what Tony had slotted for me to come in and contribute to. They're going to be once a month, and that's when I'll be there. But I would not be surprised if somewhere down the road, you know, I suggested this to him, maybe me doing a Collision on the go-home show, the last Collision before the pay-per-view Sunday. I think that might be a thought. But you know how us old carny types are. We're just always trying to get ourselves booked." Giving his take on the likely reason for Stone Cold Steve Austin not making an appearance at WrestleMania 40, Jim Ross noted on his podcast, "I haven't talked to Steve in several weeks, but I'm assuming that if I was guessing, and that's all it would be right now, as I sit here in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, I would say that Cash had a major role in why Austin was not at WrestleMania this year, because there was a spot there at the end where all those guys were getting their flowers, their props, their attaboys, and getting their stuff over, etc., etc. That would have fit Steve perfectly." As Cameron Grimes was one of a handful of WWE stars recently cut from the company, he spoke about a conversation he had with an executive of the promotion telling Busted Open Radio, "Literally, the last time I was at TV, I had a pretty high executive tell me, because, you know, I was worried. Starting this stock market gimmick, it made me see business in a different light, you know what I mean? Following these companies and playing with stocks, I would see things in a different light. So I knew that I haven't worked in over a year and I'm making a decent salary. So I knew that if someone was to look at the books, I'm going to be the first person that's going to be cut, if you're looking at it strictly as money-wise. But if you're looking at it as like, okay, well, if this is a talent that can do something for us, you know what I mean, they're going to keep me. So I was told by a high executive last week on Friday that I would always have a job here. here. I would never have to worry about losing my job here, after expressing my concerns like that to him. And then 5 days later, they called me and told that I do lose the job. So I don't know. I was just always told that they just didn't really have an idea for me at the moment. I pitched a bunch of different ideas. I pitched a bunch of different character ideas because I had a feeling that the money thing just wasn't going to work up there. They had already kind of tried it with Baron Corbin before I had got up there with the JBL thing. I feel like that was very much because of the success that I had with the character of Cameron Grimes in NXT. And I think that's why they kind of went with that storyline. Over the past few months, I had been going to writers and stuff and saying like, hey, I just want to work. At the end of the day, I just want to work. I just want to work. And I would hear that would make me kind of sound bitter. I don't understand that process. I don't understand how I came off as being kind of bitter. I guess every week when you're asking to work, I guess it starts to annoy people, you know? I mean, I guess I could see that. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.